In this version of the game, there isn't even a button for the level builder. Originally, that was the whole left side of this screen. Also, you may have seen the two blank buttons on the title screen. As I remember, one went to the builder, and the other went to the online level browser. Oh, hello there. You may continue to see that. This game's hit detection is very poor, and that sometimes works to my advantage. And that one did double the normal amount of damage. Damn. So this level is really just a guessing game. I try to get through without opening more than 2 bosses that contain hazards. Watch what happens if I try to submit my score to the server that no longer exists. Wow, that's really beautiful. Even with their screens of death, Nickelodeon is strong with their orange branding. So, not only did that crash and restart the game, it also wiped my save data. Looks like I'll be playing those again. The game only has 9 built-in levels, and most of them are very easy. The user-made levels are what made this into a standout title among the large library of SpongeBob games. It's a shame that those levels are no longer available. I made a few of them myself. That bogey leapt right out at me, and it didn't damage me at all. Come on, I'm hitting it! I love everything about the zombie death animation. I love the defeated moan, it's just beautiful. Interesting decor we have here. Giant broccoli and SpongeBob's own skeleton. SpongeBob, that's the wrong up! Get it together! The isometric perspective is kind of terrible. It's needlessly difficult to tell when an enemy is in my range of attack, and I often press the wrong button because SpongeBob's movements don't correspond directly to the orientation of the arrow keys. This level. This is just a mess of big sprites covering the screen. It's supposed to look like a jack-o'-lantern, if you can even resolve that much. That's quite a scream. SpongeBob too. I don't recall his voice being that high-pitched. I like how the zombies put in the extra effort to dress Patrick as a princess. They're dedicated to a certain aesthetic, and I appreciate it. Oh, there's a clarinet here. That makes this even easier. I won't be sneaking past these guards anymore. He's good. He can come down when he's ready. This level is a lot simpler than it looks. Step 1, get rid of these ice blocks. Don't need them. Sometimes the push sound effect is way louder than normal. I like to believe that SpongeBob just yells at certain crates on an arbitrary basis. Fuck this one random obstacle in particular. I think that I know what I did wrong before. Well, that didn't accomplish much of anything, did it? So, that first crate was just completely unnecessary to this whole puzzle. Alright, level 8. I remember this being the most difficult story level. It's the only one that requires a high degree of puzzle solving. This may take a few tries. This game exists in the tradition of block-pushing puzzles, but the puzzle mechanics aren't very strong. All of the levels before this one were extremely simple. I effectively went from one point to another and moved some obstacles that were immediately in my way. And I didn't have to be too cautious about my every movement. In a more well-made puzzle game, every single block is integral to the solution of the puzzle. In the previous levels, I discarded certain blocks that I didn't need, and with less clutter, it's easy to get the correct block to a certain space. And that's not because of limitations in the game engine or anything like that. I remember that plenty of user-made levels had intriguing puzzles that required me to stop and think. As a whole, this game suffers from poor level design, unfortunately. The developers were probably in a rush to complete it, and they didn't take the necessary time to think of more than one level that uses the game's tools to their full potential. Yeah, I definitely messed up somewhere. I thought that I remembered how to beat this level, but apparently not. When I record a short game like this, I usually play through it once beforehand so that I know what I'm doing. I didn't finish doing that this time. I got that orange screen glitch, and it kind of wiped my progress. So, yeah. Most of the story levels are lacking in real puzzle solving. For me, the user-made levels really carried this game. They made it fun. It's a shame that they are no longer playable. Of the ones that I made, I remember that I used the ice floor in most of them. To me, sliding blocks was a lot more compelling than just pushing them across the floor, one square at a time. Plus, the game is more challenging if you can't stop the block at any given space. I tried to play through every single user-made level, from oldest to newest. I don't know how many there were in total, but I got up to number 200-something. There was one in particular that I absolutely hated. I got stuck on it for almost a full day. In the level editor, there was a decorative obstacle that's underwear stuck to a lollipop. There's one in level 5 if you want to see it. Anyways, this level had a maze made mostly out of those. I could barely see where I was going because of the perspective and the underwear covering most of the window. Also, the floor was ice and I kept inadvertently sliding into a certain corner. It was very annoying, but I beat it. Nope, that isn't going to work. I obviously can't play any of the posted levels now, since Nick discontinued online support for this game. I was hoping that I could at least see a recording of them on YouTube. Maybe someone recorded a playthrough a few years ago, when the levels were still online. I've since found out that recorded gameplay of this game is exceedingly rare, even for the story mode. To my knowledge, this is the only full playthrough of Plankton's Funhouse on YouTube. Alright, I think that I finally have this puzzle figured out. Nice, that was a great puzzle. I usually neglect to mention music in these playthroughs. This game's music is pretty swell. It fits the game's supposedly spooky ambiance, but it's also somewhat upbeat and encouraging in a certain sense. That is some death animation. The instructions describe SpongeBob as being too scared to complete the mission, but it looks like a whole lot more than that is going on. So I can just slide right past them? For me, that ruins the illusion that they are at all threatening. Bonk!